Exclamatory sentence in journalistic context is a sentence that expresses a sudden, frightening, or intense emotion. It ends conventionally with an exclamation mark to symbolizes, a emphatic or emotional outcry. For example, what a horrible story. This is poor editing. Or I am disappointed in your performance. All these are examples of exclamatory, sentence. Now, having said all this, let's now move down to elements of sentence. Basically, a sentence is a combination of two fundamental grammatical elements known as what? Subject and predicate. Now, the first one is subject. What is a subject? When we talk of a subject, it is the doer of the action in a sentence. So, the subject of a sentence refers to what the sentence is all about, which structurally identifies the person or thing that performs or carries the action of the verb. Thus, the subject of a sentence could be a noun phrase, it could be a pronoun or infinitive. For example, the editor is in the newsroom. So in this example, it is noun as what? Subject. Here we have noun as subject. In another example, many anxious reporters were denied access to the venue. In this context, it is what? Noun phrase as subject. While in another example, we could say that he is a journalist, and this is pronoun as subject, and so many others. While the predicate refers to the part of sentence or clause that gives information about the subject, it essentially, consists of all the parts of the sentence that is not, in the subject. Therefore, the predicate could be a verb or a number of elements. Example, the news reporter left, or the news editor arrived late. So as I was saying, very often the predicate contains, object and complement. And the object of a sentence denotes the element that is acted upon or is affected by the action of verb. It usually follows what? The verbs to which it relates. These are basically, there are basically, two types of object. We have the direct and the indirect, object. The direct object is in the person or thing that is apparently affected by the action described by the verb in a sentence. For example, the editor dislikes dogs. He stole mobile phones. Why the indirect object is the person or thing that benefits from the action of the verb. For example, we should tell the public the sad story. Or the reporter give the editor the book. Now, the complement is an element that is connected to the subject by linking. Remember, by linking verbs such as what? Is, became, seen. Example, she became a newspaper, journalist. Or he is a news reporter. He seems an excellent news editor. So essentially, there are 5 elements of a sentence which include subject, verb, object, complement, and what? Adverbial. So, my wonderful and amazing students, you can see how important is sentenced to journalistic writing, because for you to be able to package your story and then send it to the public for them to consume that particular news that you have packaged in form of a story, you need to use proper sentences to articulate your thoughts or your ideas in a way that they can be able to read and then digest the content of the news. And for you to achieve that, you need to construct simple sentences. Remember, you are writing to express. So, my dear wonderful and amazing students, I hope I'm able to educate you on today's topic on sentence structure in journalistic and writing. And remember that in journalistic writing, you are writing to express ideas, and you are not writing to impress people. So you are not writing to tell them the level of your education. Rather, you are writing to express ideas. And how do you write to express ideas? By using words that are simple, by making choice of diction, choice of words that are simple in nature, that can be able to convey your thoughts to your audience. Remember that when you are writing, have it at the back of your mind that you are writing to a large, heterogeneous, and diverse audience that might have access to that story at that point in time. So it could be a secondary school student, it could be a professor, it could be a doctor, it could be any person. So if you write simple, even if a secondary school student have access to that story, he can be able to read and digest or understand the content of the news story. So package your story in such a way that you choose simple words that can be able to communicate the essence of the story. So I hope with all these points table before you, you can be able to write a good news story. So in our next class, we'll be doing a kind of practical class based on what we have discussed today, where you will be asked to write a short news story, taking into consideration paying attention to sentence structure in articulating your thoughts, which I believe it will go a long way to help you on how to write news story better in our next class. So make sure that the reference book, which I have also sent across to you, read them on your own, so that in our next class it will be interacting. We are going to be asking questions, providing answers, and trust me, it's going to be fun. So have a wonderful day, and we'll meet in the next class. I remain Onduve Eric Nsute, your lecturer. Thank you. In case you have questions, just drop them in the comment sections and I will respond